made it clear that he doesn't want to have a discussion with you, right?
Wait, what's the discussion about, though? That's the question.
Well, maybe it's just over some misunderstanding, right?
Just veganism?
No, it's about name the trait.
Yeah, name the trait.
And they had it.
Relationship
and
to
Jack was
veganism.
like, I don't.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
Talk to him again.
There's no point in talking to him, but here's the basic issue he doesn't understand, right? So, and he's never going to understand it. But the point is this, right? There's a kind of like a dilemma, right? Somebody asks you why we should be able to eat a cow, but not a human, right? And if you say, well, it's because humans have the do not eat property, right? And cows don't have it, right? Then they're going to ask you for a further justification, right? But the point is, if you say that that's the reason why, right? You don't eat human, but you're willing to eat a cow, right? They can't explain why there has to be a further norm that you have to appeal to, right? Because they're going to say, in virtue of what norm are you justified in appealing to this property, right? But that's just going to apply an infinite regress of norms, right? And why would somebody accept that? So it can just bottom out anywhere, right? Now, what they could also do is say, appeal to something that's non-normative. They could say, well, in virtue of what non-normative thing does this norm hold, right? But that's just to imply that one ought to have some value in virtue of some non-normative fact, right? Which is just a violation of the is-ought gap, right? And so why would anybody accept that, right? That's the reason why it doesn't make sense to ask for some further justification. If somebody says, yeah, I just think this has the do not eat property.
Okay, I'd like to mention something. Just to be clear, the question is actually not why are you okay with killing this thing, right? It's not really interesting what it's in virtue of, and I guess I didn't make that clear the first time. It's more just like, what things are you okay with killing? That's all.
Presumably things with the okay to kill property. Is that right, Jack? Am I following along?
Sorry, say it again.
Well, Terminus asked, what things are you okay with killing? And I said things that have the okay to kill property.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait. Does he have me locally muted or something?
I don't know. I'm just trying to help because I don't think he directly wants to engage.
Oh,
but I'm
yeah,
a little bit interested in this.
Not to say anything bad about you, Haiti, but that wasn't quite what I said. I said the question is not asking why; it's just asking what. Like, if we're in a parking lot, right?
That's what I said.
And she
that's exactly what I said.
You.
I said the question is what things are okay to kill.
No,
right?
yeah, but
that's what you asked. Not why are you okay to kill, and what things are you okay to kill? That's the question I asked.
No, yeah, I know. There was just a subtle difference. I wasn't asking him right now what things are okay to kill. I'm saying NTT is looking for that.
Okay, well, I mean,
no, that's fine. Like, I wasn't saying anything.
Not that different.
And then it's just a subtle difference.
And then she answered.
Okay.
And then she answered that question that NTT is probing for. Right? No, yeah, but?
You don't need to be like hostile, JJ.
Oh, I'm irritated.
You're always irritated.
I think JJ is just returning.
That's like your personality. You've got the property of being irritated.
Right, so... And then Haiti said, all right, so what if Jack responds with, oh, it's the one with the irreducible normative property. It's the one that doesn't have the killable property, right? I would just say, Well, that just seems needlessly uninformative in the same way that if we were in a parking lot, right? Haiti, you and I just got back from the mall.
Mhm.
And then I say, Haiti, which car is yours? And you say, oh, it's the
My
car
car.
that I own.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Well,
say my car. And I'm like,
I see.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
which one is it? Like, what's the body color? What's
That's
what's the
fine.
body
But
shape?
yeah, but what if it was something like, why did you pick chocolate ice cream? And I said, because it's the one that tastes best to me. And I don't have anything else. I mean, is that also uninformative? Because it's not really saying anything about the ice cream. I'm not saying
No, yeah, that
what
just
it
wasn't the
tastes like.
question, right? I didn't ask why did you pick the ice cream. I'm asking which ice cream are you going to pick, right? Just which one is it? You know?
Well, okay.
Chocolate.
Let's say
It's
chocolate. Right. And then maybe you might ask, well, in virtue of what? And then I'd say, because it's my favorite.
I just
what
won't
it
ask
tastes
that,
best.
right? Yeah, NTT
Okay.
just doesn't ask that.
I see.
And so if you tell me which ice cream, that's it.
Yeah.
Now I've gotten an informative answer. I have yet to get that though,
Right.
from Jack.
Okay. Aren't they both subjective though?
I don't know.
Like just
That's kind of
subjective
tangential.
preferences. Maybe.
I mean, if you're just
I'm
asking
not
me
saying
about my meta ethic as some side question, like, yeah, to me, like, I don't know what it means for something to be moral, if not a desire, right? I'm sure other people can mean other things, but that's again kind of orthogonal to the NTT convo. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might be something like love brownies, but I don't love, I don't know, chocolate cake or chocolate fudge. And then it might be like, well, that's kind of weird. What is it about brownies? You know, because they both taste like chocolate. It's kind of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just trying to follow
Yeah,
along. I don't really have a.
maybe it's like the things that we have to change are something about the texture. And like when we get to some middle case and we have like this texture, you say, that one, I don't want that one. And so I'm like, oh, I see.
Ooh,
So this is the
but
one you're okay with eating. This is the one you're not okay with eating. That's all.
it might be a pile heat, back to the pile heat problem, because you could say, like, if you keep adding flour to a brownie, it turns into chocolate cake. But at exact what point is a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, I don't need Jack to point out some exact point, right? I just need him to narrow it down a little bit.
I see.
Narrow it
Because-
down a little bit.
So when a heap becomes a pile,
If by becomes you mean just point out some clear cases, then yeah,
Demarcation.
which can be
A demarcation
which
line.
can be
right.
easily
Yeah.
done, by the way.
yeah, the demarcation.
I mean, but the thing is, if we agree that some things are irreducible, then, you know, if we just accept that idea, you know, seems like there's no further. I mean, it may be frustrating because it's irreducible and you can't really give a load of reasons or.
Yeah, whether or
You
not
know.
it's irreducible is actually not the interest of NTT. I just want to know which one it is. Like, I don't want to know why they chose that one. I just want to know which one is it. That's all. Like, we're in the car parking lot, right? I'm just like, which car is yours? Well, the
That
reason
seems to be
that
more
the
of an
car that's mine is the
empirical.
one that's mine is irreducible. Yeah, just tell me which fucking car it is, though.
That's not what's being
Right,
said, though.
but that's like
There's
an
a couple
empirical
different ways you can
question.
do it. You could point out it's that one, or you can describe it. It's the same thing. You can use
Yeah,
other
and neither
words
of
to
those-
describe that it's that one.
Yeah, neither of those are being done when you say the one that's mine.
Doesn't this just like
And
constantly?
but that's not the response that's at issue. It's not even analogous to it.
Well, it is, because irreducible normativity is kind of like saying that. It's just the one that has the property of being mine. It's irreducible why it's mine or something. It's like, yeah, I'm not asking why. Just tell me which fucking car it is, right?
Well, those are just going to be, I guess, identical, but it's certainly not the same.
Okay.
Know what I'm saying?
Not really.
So, again, she can point out the car, or she can say chocolate, or she can describe chocolate by whatever properties or traits.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, those would be informative
And-
answers.
And to say it's that cows have the trait property of being okay to eat is the same thing.
No.
Okay.
Because if he just says
Oh,
the
wait,
car has the
can you
property.
name the trait on that, JJ?
Doesn't like name a trait just assume there's like necessary sufficient conditions for like edible entities?
It doesn't actually assume anything.
Well, like, can't you just ask like a vegan to like do a trolley problem? Like presumably they're gonna say it's okay or they should pull the lever to save like 1 5-year-old versus 5 chimps, right? Sending the trolley over the chimps instead of the 5-year-old. And like you could just ask them what traits make it okay to do that. Right. And
Maybe.
then the meat eater could just say, well, okay, I agree with that, but I just think those traits are such that it's okay to eat some animals, maybe not the chimps.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see the point of NT2. Like, I just don't get it.
Oh, it's just a consistency test.
I don't think people have like necessary and sufficient criteria for like things they want to eat. It might be like a cluster of properties, and maybe there's like some gray zone, some set of man, bear, pigs that they're not sure that they're going to be okay with eating. So it's like a case by case thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice to see you, Jeff.
Yeah.
So Jeff, would you say that name the trait is kind of like asking when a heap becomes a pile?
Yeah, there's
Like in
some
certain instances?
Yeah, they ask you to solve a Sorites paradox, which is crazy.
Oh,
Like, I don't
wow.
know, I'm agnostic.
A second person that agrees.
Yeah, the Sorites paradox is not some sort of issue because I'm not asking for some exact turnover. I'm not assuming that there's actually some exact turnover.
Aren't you
All I'm
asking
saying
for
is point
the
out the clear
trait?
cases,
Aren't you
right?
asking for the?
Let's
Aren't you
say
asking
that-
for the? Aren't you asking for the trait that makes it okay? Isn't that the line of demarcation between when a heap becomes a pile?
Let me finish. Come
Actually, I'm just asking for a trait to be named, right? Now, if someone names a trait that doesn't narrow it down at all, I'll ask them, can you not narrow it down anymore? Not even a little? And if they say, yeah, I can't do it anymore, then I'd say, oh, okay, so you're agnostic on like a human with a single cow hair being thrown into the grinder. And if they say no immediately, that seems contradictory to them being agnostic on all the in-between cases. So clearly they can narrow it down more, right? I just want them to narrow it down enough such that we could get an accurate capturing of their view, you know?
Just wants an accurate capturing of the view.
In the same way, like, look, if you want to take a Sorites paradox of a puddle in a pond, right? If they say, well, you know, there is at some point going to be some gray area, and, you know, and because of this, I just can't even narrow it down for you. It's like, well, yes, you can. Surely if we add 1 drop to the puddle, it's not becoming the pond. You could add 100 drops, it's still not becoming the pond, right? You could show me the clear cases, and then you could show me like the in-between cases, right? And it's fine if you're agnostic on those in-between cases, but how wide are those in-between cases? Is the width of the in-between like everything from 1 drop to 1,000,000 drops? No, obviously not. So it could be narrowed down. Sorites paradox is not some sort of issue with NTT at all, and I don't even know why it's being brought up, to be honest.
I mean, it kind of makes sense to me. I mean, maybe I have a naive view, but because if presented with a trait that discerns the difference, then the natural response on the end, like your side, Terminus, would be, well, like to present a scenario that would seem absurd. Like if I'm like, oh, what about sentience? And you're like, oh, so if I had this animal that was fully sentient like you, then you'd be okay killing that. Or
Jason,
and then go ahead, sir.
Jason, the issue is simply that there doesn't have to be something in virtue of which virtue of which it's okay in one case and not in the other, right? It doesn't have to be in virtue of something further. That's the issue, right? Because what they're basically saying is, in virtue of what is it okay in this case and not in that case, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you say it's not in virtue of anything further, right, then what they're demanding here's the dilemma, and he's never going to get this. I mean, that's why it's a waste of time to talk to him. It's
I
never.
actually already responded to
It's
this. I
never.
said that NTT is not asking
Why
what
are
it's
you
in virtue
over
of.
Why are you over talking me? I'm not interested in your fucking nonsense. So look, he's never going to get it, right? They're either asking for you to appeal to a further norm, in which case there'd be an infinite regress of norms, or they're asking you to appeal to something in virtue, something non-normative, in virtue of which one ought not, right, do X. And that's just to cross the is-ought gap, right? So
Okay, so
that
go ahead.
it's just, you understand, Jason, right? Why it's okay for there to be no further reason why it's okay in one case and not the other. Do you understand that? Because it's going to bottom out somewhere, right? It could bottom out anywhere. And I just want Jason to understand this because Jason is reasonable.
I agree with you. But in thinking about it, I'm just trying to be like, look at this as objectively as possible. I'm trying to look at it from the other side.
Look,
That
some people might have
okay.
the view that it's in virtue of something else, right? And then they can play this little silly game, right? That these people want to play. And they could say, oh, well, it's because of this property, and whatever, right? But eventually it's going to bottom out somewhere, right? And it can bottom out anywhere, right? And it can bottom out right at the start, right? You can just say, yeah, I just think it's okay to eat humans. Right?
Mhm.
Not in virtue of something. Or I'm sorry, it's okay to eat cows, but not humans. It's not in virtue of something, right? It's just irreducible. Right? And
For the record,
it's always going to end with something like that, right? Assuming
Mhm.
there's no infinite chain of irreducibility. I'm sorry, there's no infinite chain of values, right? If you're not I don't even really understand what that would mean, right? But sooner or later, there's just going to be a basic value.
Yeah, I
Everybody's
understand
going
that.
to have that, right? Everybody is going to have a basic value, right?
I can understand, and again, like I don't necessarily like you think you guys understand it better than I do. That I can see how somebody may be like, it's unfulfilling to me. Like I want
Oh, I
there to
understand.
be.
I understand that. I understand that it's unfulfilling. But the point is simply this, right? If I ask you why you hold any value, right, you might say, "Oh, because it conduces to some other value that I have." Right.
Correct. Yeah.
You might say, I want my child to graduate from high school because I want her to be able to go to college. Then I might say, well, why is it good for her to go to college? And you might say,
hmm
it's good for her to go to college because then she'll get a high paying job. And then I'll say, well, why is it good for her to get a high paying job? And then you'll say, well, because I want my daughter to be happy, right? And people who earn high salaries are more likely to be happy, right? And then I might say, well, why do you want your daughter to be happy? Right? Well, it might stop there, right?
Right.
Now, of course, it could be an infinite chain or it could loop, right? It could loop around. It could be that there's just a web of values that are all interlocking and they don't bottom out anywhere, right? But if you think there's just some values that are basic, right? It doesn't make sense it doesn't make sense to object. Oh, well, that's uninformative, or whatever dumb nonsense this idiot is going to say, right? Or any of these idiots are going to say. It doesn't make sense to say it's not informative to say that, right? That you just value happiness, irreducibly, right? Point is, it's going to bottom out somewhere, and so since it's going to bottom out somewhere, assuming
Why even go
it
into it?
doesn't loop or it's not an infinite chain, then it can bottom out anywhere.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to respond, been waiting to respond. Yeah, Jack, NTT is not asking what it's in virtue of. It's actually just asking what worlds, right? So I already know that what you were saying before, because I've been thinking about it, is that these sorts of things that have this irreducible normative property, you can't explain some further why of it, right? That's fine. All I'm asking is, in which worlds do you perceive this irreducible normative property, right? In which worlds with these various natural properties are you perceiving that this one probably has the irreducible normative property?
Okay, that just didn't make any sense to me at all. But I understood what Jack was saying, but like that response, I didn't understand.
Well, you didn't understand. I could explain it. Jack is saying that he is perceiving in these natural worlds this irreducible normative property. Am I right, Jack?
No, like what world do you think he's talking about? He's talking about this world, bro.
Yeah, we're talking
What?
about a range of possible worlds. And Jack says that in this range of possible worlds, he perceives the irreducible normative property.
He's saying that it's all, that this occurs in all state of affairs, right? In all state of affairs, they're going to be this kind of irreducible aspects for coming to a conclusion on this, right? I mean, why I don't know why you're talking about different states of affairs or different worlds.
Because this
Yeah,
is what
because in the
democracy
different
is
states of affairs, he will perceive different irreducible normative properties. This one has the irreducible normative property of it's okay to kill. This one will have the irreducible normative property of it's not okay to kill. So if there's these properties that Jack is perceiving, right? And he's saying in the world where we holocaust the animals, it has the irreducible normative property of kill. And in the world of the humans, it has the irreducible normative property of do not kill. I just want to know, for all the in-between worlds, which ones, especially the ones that are very close to flipping over, have the irreducible normative property of kill. That's all. Or which ones does he perceive to have that irreducible normative property of kill?
I don't see how that's informative. I mean, okay, let's say that one person has a differing view of the world that bottoms out at X and another one bottoms out at Y. Like you're
I'm just
interested in
asking for
understanding the
Jack's.
difference.
I'm asking for Jack's, not anyone else's. I want to know what Jack's perception of where the irreducible normative property is. It's informative about Jack's view. That's all.
But it seems, I mean, I don't even know if he's listening to you, but it seems like he sees this as like kind of a ridiculous notion to try to interrogate or understand where that bottoms out. He's just saying that there's no
not
reason to even
bottoms
go
out. I just want to know which ones he's okay. Look, I just want to know which ones he perceives as having the killable property. That's all.
Can I try? Would this be a question you'd ask in another way? I mean, I could be completely not understanding. Are you asking him, is there a possible world in which animals have the do not kill property?
Wait, sorry, repeat that.
Are you asking something like, is there a possible world in which animals have a do not kill property?
No.
Oh,
I'm
fuck,
asking.
never mind then. I give up.
No, but listen, I'll explain it. I'm asking between all the possible worlds of the human and the animal, right? Swapping like all the natural traits between these beings, right? When Jack looks at these worlds, he's perceiving through these natural differences this non-natural, irreducible normative property. I just want to know which world that is, right? Like we could keep morphing the human to be more and more like the animal, right? Because Jack says that the human has the irreducible normative property, but the animal doesn't. As we change that human to the animal, Jack is going to look at this world and perceive as to whether or not it has the irreducible normative property. I just want to know when, as we keep morphing the human, it goes from him perceiving it to be not
Right.
killable to killable.
He wants
So that's
he
sort
wants
of
Jack to
part
name the
of name the
trait.
trait. That is name the
Yeah.
trait because you say, look, supposing it was a human being that was like, you know, suddenly grew hooves and, you know, fur and their IQ dropped and, you know, that sort of thing, right? And you're asking like, when do they lose that do not eat property? Like at what point on that morphing, you know, spectrum? But that is
That's right.
still name the trait. right?
Yeah.
You're just running name the trait on him in a different way. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think he might just say that's not the point or something. I'm guessing.
How is that
Well,
not a
is he
Socrates
just
paradox?
I don't know.
is
I
he
mean,
just
I don't want
assuming
to
my
speak for him.
intentions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
how is
because
Well,
look,
that not
the
no, I
thing,
mean,
variety
that's what you're
paradox?
doing, right? I mean, you
yeah, like I'm just trying to find out, like, which ones does he perceive have this irreducible normative property? That's all.
Well, you
Yeah,
mean
it's
which
assuming-
particular animals have the trait and which particular animals don't? Is that what you're asking?
Well, if humans count as
Is that,
animals,
is
sure.
that what you are asking? Yes or no?
I'm agnostic on that because your language is not the same as mine.
You don't know what you're asking?
No, I said I'm agnostic on whether it matches what you have in your mind when you say those words because your language seems different than mine.
Right. That's because because your language is not clear. You understand that, right?
Right.
So
So
what I'm
let's just
asking
build a
is,
phenomenological lexiconic bridge so that we can actually understand what
yeah,
each
you
other
can
are saying
fuck off
instead
of
of trying
that.
to get a
Like
gotcha there. Okay.
phenomenological lexiconic
Oh my
grid,
God,
bro. You
that's
can just
it.
say like, let's just like use terms that we both understand what they mean, right? That's fucking just like, just
Well,
shows
there's a
how like
distinction between
completely
what I
like
just described. We have to make
ridiculous
sure
you
that
are.
when we use the
Are
terms
you
that we
just
actually understand what the other person means.
are
So just
you
kind of simmer
asking
down
like
there.
what makes
Just kind of
a
simmer
cow
down.
have
Okay.
the eat property and what makes a dog not have the eat property? Is that what you're
No,
asking? Yes
not
or
what.
no?
No, not what makes it. I'm asking what does he perceive
I didn't say what
from these
makes it.
natural features has this.
You're not doing your part in establishing a lexiconic bridge, are you?
No, I'm making sure to be careful with my wording because what I do not want to ask Jack is what makes it have the irreducible normative
I
property.
didn't
I'm
say
just
that.
asking
I
him.
didn't say what
I'm
makes.
just asking him. Sorry, dude. Stop talking over. You're being disrespectful. I'm just asking
Nice, dude.
which ones
That's enough
Jack
of this garbage, man.
perceives to have the irreducible normative property. You see the difference?
What?
I asked you, is your question to Jack, which does a dog have the do not eat? And you're asking for like a rundown of like which animals have the property and which animals don't. Is that specific animals? Is that what you're asking for?
Which specific? More like which possible animals? I mean, I describe it as possible
Which
worlds.
possible animals?
Yeah,
Which specific
because between
Guys,
a human and
guy's a fucking idiot.
Well, that's funny though.
I mean, he just described a Socrates paradox.
Yeah, I feel like they're still going to be talking past each other. Because I think Jack would just answer whichever one has the do not eat property, right? That would always be his answer.
Value properties is like a Bill Grommy thing. So like if you were actually interested in it, you should like go read some Bill Grommy.
But actually, it doesn't even really matter the metaphysics, right? Because the point is, you're just saying it's okay to eat. It's okay to eat cows. It's not okay to eat humans, right? And it's not in virtue of anything, right? And that's the same thing with the happiness of his daughter case with Jason that I brought up, right? If I say, why do you value your daughter's happiness? It's not in virtue of anything. Right?
It still sounds as though he was doing that paradox because he was saying if a human slowly morphs into having lots of cow stuff, at what point do they no longer have the do not eat property? But isn't that the heat
He said
becoming
at
a
what
pile?
point? Exactly.
Yeah.
He was asking for your criteria for how you discern this, right? And what's going, that criteria is supposed to sort through those edge cases.
Yeah, but how do you discern?
Yeah,
What's their criteria?
Criteria, that's just asking him to reduce it further,
Yeah,
right?
I'm just saying what he said, right?
What's the
Yeah, I mean, he's just like a
criteria for
dumbass.
why you value your daughter's happiness? You know, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But look, trust me, he's never going, well, you don't trust me, right? Do you think that I'm justified in thinking it's never going to get through to him or any of his buddies ever? Do you know what these people are like? They're lunatics. They're like in a cult. It's never, no answer will ever be satisfactory. They're going to say dumb shit to the end of time, no matter what you say. It's a waste of time to talk to them.
I like to do the trolley problem thing, and it puts it back on them to give traits. They have to do the trait equalization.
Well, that's good. No, I'd like to see that play out. That sounds interesting.
It usually just ends up in like spazzing.
Oh,
Do
really?
you want to talk? Is he still here? Do you want
I
to
like
talk to him,
Terminus.
Jeff?
No,
Jeff?
I like Terminus.
Okay, well, look, you can talk to him then. That's all right. Right? So, but that's okay with everyone?
Hey
I
Tom,
don't
when you
like
get
it.
Just do
when
your
you get a
best,
second,
Jeff.
check your DMs, Tom.
Just do
Oh,
your
okay.
best, Jeff. We don't
Right.
have high expectations or anything.
All right,
from
Jeff.
you.
Terminus. Jeff wants to talk to you. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I don't. But I'll do it.
I thought you did. I thought you said yes. I like Terminus. Did it?
No, I like Terminus, but I don't want to talk to him about it.
Oh, okay. Very
Yeah,
much.
I heard you clearly, Jeff.
Ooh,
I guess I didn't
Big
compute
listen
because
to
it sounded a little contradictory, so I assumed you said
Well, I think he answered your
yes.
question. He said no when you asked if you want to talk to him, but I like Terminus.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't. That didn't like make sense in my mind real quick because usually when you like people, you want to talk to them.
Guys,
It's not
look,
about
I'm going to
this.
side skirt the fact that I was muted. I just want to ask Jack a question.
Oh,
If he doesn't
Oh
answer
no, I
directly,
don't.
maybe we could play
Doesn't want
telephone,
to.
right?
I don't think he
But
wants
I just want to ask,
no.
I just want to ask, like, Jack, if I give you some sort of creature that's in between a human and a cow, can you perceive that creature and tell me if it has the irreducible normative property of kill?
I mean, what is? Do you see how dumb this is, right? Like you could ask the same question about Jason's daughter, right?
Well, I don't know if that's an answer to my question. I just wanted to know, can you look at the creature that's between the human and the cow, right? Like some sort of morphed creature.
Like, what is the point of asking that question? I just don't get it.
Oh, it's just to find out which ones you perceive to have the irreducible normative property of
You
kill.
want to give me a laundry list of like different animals and ask me which one has the do? It's just going to bottom out in whether I think, oh yeah, I would eat that, I wouldn't eat that, right? But there's no consistency check.
Oh, that's fine. Like,
In virtue
it's
of
not.
some principle.
Well, it is technically capable of a consistency check if you like contradict yourself later, but I'm not even assuming that there's going to be some contradiction, right?
No,
That's
no,
not even the point. I
no,
just want to know.
You're going to have to assume that the property stays the same at all times, right? I might find that it's okay to eat a certain dog tomorrow, right? And that wouldn't be an inconsistency. It's just so fucking
No,
dumb.
I'm not saying
But
tomorrow.
I don't even understand what is the. I mean, Tom, is it even worth? Like, is this content? I mean, I don't. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Well,
I mean,
look,
it
it's
may have
just,
come to an end.
look. I just want to say a couple
So
things here.
low tier. This is like such low tier content. This is like this is the kind of person I would just say we should never have in the VC, right? There's just there's nothing you can say that he can understand. Literally nothing. He doesn't understand anything that's being said to him.
Okay, but Jack,
Can we
you
turn it into like a
understand.
sugar's poison situation where it's entertaining at times?
Okay,
but
can I get a
That's
word
what
in,
I
guys?
think. I think it is
Can I just get a word in?
No, you can take a break. You can take a break. I just want to defend him for just a second because it is funny. It's kind of like when I don't know your children play dress up. You say, "Oh, look, they're pretending to be a fireman. Isn't that cute?" That's what I get out of this. It's cute and kind of funny sometimes. Does that make sense? I think that's a good analogy.
Okay, so as I was saying, look, Jack, if you understand what the question is looking for, which is just,
Look,
all
he's
right,
trying to
which
be
ones
cute
are you?
again.
He keeps addressing me. Like, what is the point of this?
Well, because I'm just not satisfied with the current endpoint of the conversation. I feel like there's stuff to be resolved, right? Now, I don't know why everyone is posturing in chat and trying to like make this as unproductive as possible, but I just want to see if we're on the same
See,
page.
that was cute. You already said?
He must be a
Okay,
great
so anyways.
ex-boyfriend.
So anyways,
I just feel
right,
like there's stuff that we
Without-
need to talk about still, even though you said you don't want to talk to me.
Look, Jack doesn't want to talk to you anymore, right? I wanted Jeff to talk to you because I thought that might be interesting, just for my own edification. Jeff doesn't want to do it.
Oh, if
kind of
Jeff,
an impasse.
sorry, I mean, if Jack doesn't want to talk, I'll just make a closing statement then. I'll just say that it seems like Jack then agrees that he has given needlessly uninformative answers to NTT now that he seems to know what NTT is looking for.
Cut out Terminus.
And I just want to make that clear to the room.
Oh, yeah, your
Sorry, you
seemings
cut
are
out.
very clear to us now. Thank you.
What is the argument that your seemings are justifiers?
So fucking dumb. I just
Well, I
can't.
don't give a shit if they're justifiers. I'm glad to know that we know what his seemings are now. Thank you so much. You are dismissed.
Well, actually, we don't know. We don't know what
Yeah,
he
boy.
perceives in all the in-between cases.
Look, we gave
It's
you the last
irrelevant.
word. We gave you the last word. Time to move on. Otherwise, someone's going to mute you.
So
Just warning you.
Jimbo, what brings you over?
Jim Bob?
Yeah, whatever.
Hmm.
He
follows me around.
He does? Wow. Why?
Because we're besties.
Oh.
I didn't realize it was you at first. I thought it was made by Jim Bob the other day when I first saw him.
It's Jim Bob.
Oh, I wish that guy was here.
It's not Hiwa?
That hurts.
No, it is.
No, it is Hiwa.
Hiwa. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I was
Actually,
just
made by
trying
Jim
to-
Bob could probably be fun if we got him in here.
Just
Yeah,
trying
apparently
to,
there's some other person who's named something Jim Bob that people confuse me for.
That's who they were just talking about.
Yeah.
I guess we're not trying to protect your anonymity anymore, so fuck that.
Well,
What did you think
it was
of,
never very anonymous.
what did you think of Sam's Matt Slick stunt? Because I know you were there.
The ALA picture?
Yeah.
It was in poor taste.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. I think it's totally fine as long as he had a permission. That's what I think. And if he didn't, I think that's not cool.
Yeah, if he didn't have permission from her, it's obviously fucked up.
I don't think a lot of people would agree, but that's what I think.
Isn't she a porn star?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
jamming her
Doesn't
naked
matter. She's
picture
still
in
in-
front of her father's face might be
was she
something
naked?
she didn't want.
They were in bed.
Well, also, that photo.
It wasn't.
That
It
photo
wasn't.
wasn't part. It's not part of her porn career.
It's his private.
That's something
photo.
she put out there publicly.
Right. It's in his photo thing, and obviously it's going to upset the dad, or it might say something about like the fact that they're in a relationship, and that seems to me something that she should have agreed to, made public.
It's something that was like shocking and funny in the moment, but obviously not defensible.